In 1694, on the northeastern coast of Madagascar, a group of pirates did something no pirate had ever done. This is the story of the only democracy born under a black flag. The late 1600s were the golden age of European hypocrisy. Churches blessed slave ships, parliaments wrote laws protecting property but not human life. Captain James Misson was born into French minor nobility sometime around 1660. He joined the Navy young, saw what empires actually looked like up close. The cruelty wasn't hidden. It was policy. Captured enemies were sold as galley slaves. Misson watched all of it, and something inside him began to crack. In Rome, between deployments, Misson met a man who would change everything, a Dominican friar named Caraccioli. Caraccioli had studied theology, philosophy, and law. He'd concluded that the church was a tool of oppression, that monarchies were systems of organized theft. Misson listened, and for the first time, the world made sense. When Misson's captain was killed in a skirmish off the coast of Africa, the crew elected Misson to replace him. His first order stunned them. He hoisted a white flag with the words, "For God and liberty." No skull, no crossbones. He told his crew they were not thieves, they were liberators. Any ship carrying slaves would be taken. Any man in chains would be freed. They laughed at first, then they saw he was serious. Their first test came within weeks. A Dutch slave ship, heavy and slow, crossing from the Gold Coast to Barbados. Misson's crew took it without a fight. Below deck, 200 Africans chained in their own filth. Misson ordered every chain removed. You are not cargo. You are not property. From this moment, you are free men with the same rights as every man aboard this ship. Join us, or we will take you home. Caraccioli drafted the laws. Every man votes, regardless of birth or color. No man may own another. Land belongs to the community. Disputes settled by council, not by captain. They needed a home, somewhere beyond the reach of European navies. Madagascar was the obvious choice, enormous, ungoverned by any colonial power, rich in timber, fresh water, and natural harbors. In late 1694, they sailed into the Bay of Antongil on the northeast coast. The local Malagasy king watched them arrive with suspicion. Misson did what no European had done before him on that island. He negotiated as an equal. No threats, no crosses planted in the sand, no flags raised over stolen land. He told the king they sought only a place to build, and in return they would defend the coast against the slave traders who hunted his people. The king agreed, but warned him, "Many men have come here with grand ideas. The jungle swallowed them all." They called the settlement Libertalia. 200 pirates, 180 freed Africans, a handful of Malagasy who joined out of curiosity. They spoke French, English, Dutch, Portuguese, Malagasy, and half a dozen West African languages. The first weeks were brutal. The jungle did not welcome them. It resisted. Every tree they felled took hours. The heat was suffocating. Insects descended in clouds. Tropical fevers struck within days. 3 men died in the first week, not from battle, not from enemies, from the land itself. But something unexpected happened. The freed Africans knew things the Europeans didn't. They knew which plants cured fever, which wood resisted rot, how to build shelters that breathed in the humidity instead of trapping it. Within 3 months, Libertalia had walls. Caraccioli established a council. Disputes were brought before it. Every person, regardless of origin, could speak. They needed income. Utopia doesn't feed itself. Misson organized raids, but with rules no pirate fleet had ever followed. They targeted slavers exclusively. Merchant vessels carrying goods were left alone. When they took a slaver, the cargo was freed, the ship stripped of valuables, and the Dutch or Portuguese crew set adrift in longboats with enough water to reach the coast. Across the Indian Ocean, in the ports of East Africa and the Arabian coast, sailors whispered about a place in Madagascar where freed slaves lived as equals with white men. Most people didn't believe it. Some came to see for themselves. By 1696, its population had tripled. Success brought problems that idealism couldn't solve. More people meant more food needed, more shelter, more water, more arguments. The communal system that worked for 400 people strained under 1,200. The first cracks appeared not because the idea was wrong, but because the idea being tested by reality. And then came Thomas Tew, an American privateer, ruthless, charismatic, everything Misson was not. With 3 ships, 60 men, and a hold full of stolen gold from Mughal trading vessels. He'd heard about Libertalia. He wanted in. But Tew didn't believe in equality. He believed in profit. He saw Libertalia not as a republic, but as a base of operations, a safe harbor with free labor. Misson saw a fleet. Caraccioli saw a threat. They were both right. The vote to admit Tew split the community for the first time. Misson argued that strength required numbers, and Tew's ships meant protection against the European navies that would eventually come. The freed Africans were the most vocal opponents. They had seen men like Tew before, men who smiled and traded and then put chains on you when you slept. Tew kept his word at first. He followed the rules, attended the councils, voted like everyone else. But at night, in his own camp at the edge of the settlement, he gathered men around him. The first theft happened in January 1697. A storehouse was broken into at night. Food meant for the community taken. The council investigated. No one confessed. No witnesses came forward. But everyone knew the food had gone to Tew's camp. Misson wanted to confront him directly. Caraccioli stopped him. If you accuse without proof, you break your own laws. Misson understood. That was the trap. Tew began trading with passing ships. He used Libertalia's harbor, but kept the profits for himself. When challenged in council, he argued that the laws said all plunder must be shared. But this wasn't plunder, this was trade. He wasn't stealing from the community, he was simply doing business. The council had no law against private commerce because Caraccioli had never imagined someone would use freedom to rebuild the very inequalities freedom was meant to destroy. Gold changed everything. Tew's men had things others didn't: better weapons, new clothes, rum from passing ships. Slowly, the economy of equality was being replaced by an economy of debt. Men who owed Tew favors voted his way in council. The white flag still flew, the laws still stood, but beneath them, a different system was growing like roots under a house. Caraccioli wrote one last document, a warning. He read it to the council on a March evening in 1697. He spoke about Rome, about Athens, about every republic that had ever fallen. They all died the same way, he said, from the moment one man was allowed to accumulate more than another. And once it enters, it does not stop until the body is dead. The hall was silent when he finished. The Malagasy king came to visit in April. He walked through the settlement and said nothing for a long time. Then he turned to Misson and spoke quietly. When I agreed to let you build here, I saw one fire. Now I see two. A village with two fires is two villages, and two villages on the same land is a war." The king left. Misson had no answer. In June, Misson made his last attempt. He talked about why they had come, what they had escaped, what they had built. He asked them one question: "Is this what you crossed an ocean to become? Another Europe with better weather?" The applause was enormous. The vote to reaffirm the original laws passed overwhelmingly. Tew voted yes and changed nothing about what he was doing. The attack came from outside. A coalition of European merchant ships, Dutch and Portuguese, arrived in September 1697. They had tracked Misson's raiders back to Madagascar. 5 warships appeared on the horizon at dawn. Libertalia had 3 ships and no professional navy. And for one brief, beautiful moment, the community was united again. The battle lasted 2 days. Misson commanded from his flagship. Tew, to everyone's surprise, fought like a demon. Whatever else he was a sailor, and he would not let European navies take what he considered his harbor. On the second day, Misson's crew used fire ships, loaded a captured vessel with pitch and oil, set it ablaze, and sailed it into the enemy formation. 2 Dutch ships burned, the others withdrew. Libertalia had survived. But survival cost them everything they couldn't afford to lose. One of their 3 ships was sunk. 47 men were dead. Tew's faction blamed Misson for provoking the attack by raiding slave ships. Misson's faction blamed Tew for weakening the community through division. Both sides were right, both sides were wrong, and the dead didn't care about the argument. In the weeks after the battle, something quieter and more devastating happened. People began to leave. The ones who left were often the original settlers, the ones who had believed the most. They didn't leave because they hated Libertalia. They left because they loved what it had been and couldn't bear to watch what it was becoming. Each departure was a small death. And Misson, standing on the beach watching another boat disappear over the horizon, understood for the first time that the jungle was not what would destroy them. They were destroying themselves. By November 1697, Libertalia was a ghost of itself. The communal hall stood, but the councils were attended by fewer people each time. Tew no longer bothered attending at all. He governed his side of the settlement openly now, with gold and favors, and the promise of something the original Libertalia never offered. Caraccioli asked to speak with Misson alone one evening. They walked to the beach where they had first landed 3 years earlier. Caraccioli told Misson something he had been holding back for months. The idea was never wrong. The idea was centuries ahead of its time. But an idea planted in the wrong soil does not grow wrong. It simply does not grow. Misson said nothing. The 2 men sat on the beach in silence, watching the tide come in, and for the first time, neither of them talked about the future. Libertalia still exists, not as a place, as a question. Can we build a society where no one is above another? Someone once tried, under a white flag, on a beach in Madagascar, and for a brief, impossible moment, it worked.